Well, hey there, Steve.
Hey!
What does a guy call his best friends?
Is this a joke? I don't know. What?
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a funny one. His testes besties, of course.
What?
Steve, Halloween is right around the corner, and you don't want to spook someone with your creepy bush. You want balls so clean, it's scary.
I mean, it's scary good, though.
Scary good, yeah. Not like scary like, oh, God, what's going on there?
Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
Oh, my Lord, we're bringing technology to the sack.
Ben, I know you are a manscaper yourself. I am as well. And Ben, I have had in the past some atrocious occurrences.
Oh,
while
Lord of mercy.
Using a trimmer on my downstairs area. In fact, I've had some bloody experiences.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Nobody wants no part of that.
No, you don't. And I know some of you out there thinking, it's a crazy old time. I don't even get out ever. Why do I need to manscape? Let me tell you this. When you look good, you feel good. And when your boys look good, boy, do they feel good. I'll tell you that.
You're doggone right, Steve. Just because you're in quarantine don't mean you don't need to be clean, y'all. But, Steve, let me let you in on a little secret here, because I know we got a lot of listeners on the show here that are saying, but Steve, I ain't got no balls of my own. I don't need this manscaping. Let me tell you what, ladies, this can be for you, too, because I'm going to tell you what, you can get this thing and take advantage of using that up before somebody creates Womanscaped and starts charging you 3 times as much for the same stuff. Y'all know how this works.
Listen to me, Dead and Lovelies. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. What's in there? You get the Lawnmower 3.0 for lawn mowing your nards area. It's skin safe. I used it. No tugs, no nicks. I enjoyed it. You can even create a little less mess by using that thing in the shower or getting one of those Magic Mat disposable shaving mats they got. Catch all that hair as it drops. And let's not forget about the Crop Preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant. Do what? And moisturizer. This is amazing. You're putting deodorant on your armpits. Get some deodorant for your balls. What else are you going to get in that Perfect Package 3.0? Some anti-chafing performance boxer briefs. I don't know how they've done it. It's time to get this Perfect Package 3.0. Get clean like Mean Gene's bald head. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DEAD20. That's DEAD20 at manscaped.com. So this is Dead and Lovely from Manscaped saying, wash your hands.
And your ass.
And trim your junk. Your balls will thank you.
And so will the people that love your balls. Manananan, do 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 do. Manananan, do 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 do. Manananan, do 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 do. Alternate musical intro would have been Blood Sugar Baby, Pencil Magic, Worm Magic, Spider Magic. Little Chili Peppers action coming at you, you know? That would have worked too. Why don't we just do both? You know, we just do both. Welcome, Dead and Lovely listeners, to the brand newest installment of the only horror movie review podcast in the world. We're actually the only one. Stop looking. This is all that you need in life. Why, it's Dead and Lovely. Here with the host with the most, it's me, your good buddy, Uncle Ben.
And me, your witchy pal, Hollywood Steve.
Witchy Steven.
That's me.
That's you right there.
That's what the song was about. And then they were like, who's Steven? And at the time, that was Santana,
Those
right?
Eagles, yeah.
Eagles, right. At the time, the Eagles were like, well, there's this child. Was I alive when that came out? I don't even think so. Was that in the 70s?
I think so. I was going to say, maybe that song was actually a prophecy about your impending birth,
a child
right?
will come.
I don't know why, but I want to call it Witchy Steven, but the record label doesn't like it, so we're going to call it Witchy Woman.
I mean, it's not my real message, but fine.
And you know, kiddos, on today's episode, we are going to be taking a deep dive into one of the most despicable, one of the most insidious and evil movies of all time, The Craft from 1996. And if you want to go straight to the movie review portion of the show, there's a timestamp for you in the podcast description. Go to that. It'll tell you where to go. But before we do that, we're going to shoot the shit, drink a cold beer, chat it up about what we've been watching and stuff this week. But if you want to go straight to the movie review, fine. You just be that way. Just tell them, Steve, they can just be that way.
You just be that way. We don't want you around here anyway.
That's
Please
right.
Don't leave. Please come back. No.
Yeah, rate and review on iTunes.
You.
Like, as fast as you can. 5 stars. But you know what, Steve? Before we can do all that stuff, I got to find out how your little month of Halloween has been treating you.
Halloween, man. My whole October... that's how you say it.
October.
Mm-hmm.
Really? It sounds like how you say it in the Midwest, dude. Oh, the Midwest, October.
I've been watching so many horror movies that it's been great. I always forget horror movies make me happy.
Weird considering you do a horror movie podcast, but okay.
I know, and I watch them a lot, but like, I guess I have just been watching stuff that has been, I've been going for stuff that I think will be fun or things that I really enjoy. So
yeah.
I forget to do that sometimes. So many times it becomes just like I'm doing this for the podcast or like it's work, I guess.
Just another day at the office.
Yeah, but like this month I've just been leaning on some movies that I know are great and then also trying to watch some new ones that I hear are fun.
Okay.
So,
anything jumped out at you this week?
Yeah, I finally I've never done this. I watched John Carpenter's Unofficial Apocalypse trilogy from beginning to end.
Nice.
I started with The Thing, went to Prince of Darkness, and on to In the Mouth of Madness. And I had already seen how thematically everything worked, but not watching them in a row, you don't really see it as a progression. But it is this really nice apocalyptic progression.
Nice.
And I really, really love The Thing. That movie's so good.
It's the bomb. It's so fucking awesome, man. And too, like, Mouth of Madness, that's a long-standing Dead and Lovely favorite. Is it holding up still awesome?
It's still absolutely one of my favorite movies of the 90s and one of my favorite Carpenter movies.
Hell yeah.
But Prince of Darkness is so damn good, and I know you haven't seen it. And when I posted about it, so many people were like psyched about the movie that I must insist that next week we cover Prince of Darkness.
Spoilers! I'm so excited about it, dude. That's one of those ones that, like, from your description, I already know that I'm gonna love, so I'm really excited to watch it.
I think you're gonna be way into it, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Awesome. So did you catch any new favorites that you hadn't seen before?
I did. I watched the Mortuary Collection, which I had seen posted about a few times on Twitter and Instagram. It had just gone up on Shudder. And, man, solid anthology with good dark humor throughout.
Okay. I don't know about that one.
It's got Clancy Brown is like, I guess, our crypt keeper type of character who's presenting the stories. But throughout it, they use some of the same actors. It's got a lot of comedy people, but it's also like just a solid anthology. I don't want to say too much, but I would say definitely worth a watch if you have Shudder.
Okay, and I do.
Yeah, I mean, Shudder is one of those things where, for me, if I watch 2 movies on it a month, it's worth it.
Totally,
it's
yeah.
like $5
you can't find them anywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't find a lot of these. It's $5 a month. You'd spend the same or more renting them. So, like, worth it, definitely. The Mortuary Collection. Plus, they have that movie I talked about last week, Scare Me. So, there's 2 movies. Go check out Shudder.
Worth it.
Yeah. And give us money, Shudder, for saying that.
Yeah, exactly. Worth it. Come on.
Yeah, definitely go check that out. Also, I rewatched Unfriended because we had talked about Unfriended a little bit when we did Host, and I saw it on Netflix, and I was like, I remember enjoying that movie. I bet I would have a different sort of context for it now, and I did like it more this time.
Oh.
And one of the things I liked about it is that it's pre-pandemic by a number of years, but it also is very pandemic. Like, they don't at any point have to explain why they're on a Skype call with each other. Like, it's just normal. Which is an interesting thing because in Host, they have to, it has to be about the pandemic. But I think we've all gotten so used to that by now that a story that's just set in, it's absolutely normal that we're all on Skype talking, kind of immerses you a little bit better and doesn't keep reminding you of the real world event that is causing this.
Yeah.
So I liked that. It had good immersion, and the fact that it's not just a Zoom call. We're actually seeing stuff happening on screen. Like, we see a little bit of that in Host, but there's a whole lot of depth and immersion that's added by like her Googling stuff and like going to Facebook and all these different things. Like, I really think Unfriended is worth a rewatch in the pandemic era.
Okay, see it through some new lenses, huh?
Yeah. How about you, Ben? What you been watching?
Man, I've had time this week to watch a handful of things, and some of them I really, really liked. We watched one first last week that we hadn't seen before, but I heard about. Little talkie by the name of Brightburn. Did you watch the Brightburn?
Oh, right. That's James Gunn's superhero horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it.
Dude, it's pretty fucking good. I know a lot of people really didn't like it at all. Or good for Brandon Suttles told me he wasn't a fan of it, but I thought that it was pretty cool, man. It gets dark really fast. It also gets like surprisingly brutal at times, which is fun because I think the last time we saw James Gunn get to be gross and brutal was Slither, and that was a million years ago.
Slither's
but
great.
This is a fun movie, man. It really reminded me a lot of like a Marvel What If comic. You know, you remember the What If series?
Yes, the What If series is one of my favorites
So
because
awesome.
every single story was a one-off story.
Yeah,
you didn't
man.
have to follow multiple, and it was also like, well, this doesn't have any effect on any other story. This is just this story.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. It kind of reminded me of that sort of deal, or of like the Superman, I believe it was called Red Sun storyline, where he crashed,
right?
Over in Russia instead of America.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really, really cool. I get why some people didn't like it, but I thought it was neat and especially bleak and ballsy to release that like right at the height of Marvel fever. Like, I think this came around the same time as like Endgames and all that.
Yeah, and it was kind of his response to being fired by Marvel for
was
old
it?
tweets. I think it.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they rehired him, but like, it definitely feels like even if he had that idea before, that some of it had to be like a fuck you.
So I enjoyed that. We also rewatched The Dead Don't Die, which I hadn't watched since we did our
I need to rewatch that. I love that.
It's even so much better than I remembered. Like, I was laughing the whole fucking movie all the way through.
How many people hate that movie?
A lot of people hate that movie. I don't get it, man. It's really like a bizarre zombie movie that was written by the guys that did Napoleon Dynamite plus the Coen brothers or something. It's weird and dry and stupid and random, but so good.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I enjoyed it so much. And I need to rewatch it now that you mention it. Because I'm watching movies I've enjoyed. I need to rewatch that one for sure.
It's so fun, man. Also watched ourselves a Hocus Pocus, always a seasonal favorite. It's a winner. That's nothing new. Mm-hmm. Watched Ghostbusters 2. I hadn't watched that in a couple of years. Man, Ghostbusters 2 is good. Like, I don't care what people say. It's a good movie. It's got like, you've got stuff that you've just got to suspend disbelief on that honestly could have been written out of the movie in some clever way where it's just like, how did people not remember the ghosts and stuff? Well, here's the thing, Steve. I used to think that was always such like a ridiculous part of that movie where it was like people acting like they don't remember that there was ghosts in town like 5 years ago, right? And now like we're in an age where, well, I don't know, just as a for example, maybe the president's tax records get leaked. He's in debt for almost $500 million. He says that he's not in debt for $500 million, that's fake. And then in a news report is talking about how, I'm in debt for $500 million. It's not that much. And it's like, how did people forget that? Oh, yeah, that's how. So now Ghostbusters 2 is very believable, actually.
Okay. Actually, because the thing that I remember is kind of the problem for me with Ghostbusters 2 when I rewatched it recently was that the villain is the EPA.
Yeah, that's true.
The villain is government oversight. Like,
I hadn't thought about that.
Anyway, but I do need to rewatch it because I remember I rewatched it a few years ago and I didn't think it was that bad. I think, people it's just not maybe as funny and well developed as the first one. So it's like,
I
why
don't
does this
know.
exist? But it's like, well, why not?
In some ways, though, it's like they had that entire first movie to really establish and develop those characters and how they would flow and stuff. So in the second one, you've just got so many great character moments of Egon being this fun nerd that thinks he's so cool, but he's just fucking stone cold lame all the time. And Bill Murray, I don't know. It's just like the characters in it are really, really good and well developed. So I enjoyed it a lot, man. Also watched Ernest Scared Stupid. I don't know why I've not been doing that every year my entire life.
I don't either. I told somebody that I think it's on the level with Hocus Pocus
Yes.
and The Witches. Like, it should be one that everybody is rewatching around Halloween.
Totally
it's still
agree.
funny. Jim Varney is great. He
Amazing.
is awesome. He went all out for those kids movies, and people still look at them as just kids movies, but he was acting his ass off.
Yeah, no, for real though, he really, really was, man. And too, like, I forgot that Eartha Kitt was in this movie, being fucking awesome.
Yes, the like history bit to it is like fun. It's cool. I enjoy it. I was glad when I rewatched it that it held up, and I was the same. I was like, I should rewatch this every year.
Yep, and all the creature work by the Chiodo brothers, fucking awesome, dude. Those trolls like look legit amazing.
They
like
do.
the designs
They
are
do.
great. All the animatronics that are in their face and stuff that do the facial expressions, amazing.
I've said before that I was legit scared at too late of an age by the two-nosed troll.
Yeah.
Like, I think I saw it when I was 12, and I had seen some fucked up horror movies. And Ernest Scared Stupid, that troll really fucked with me.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, man. It's a treasure. I'll watch that one every year from here on out, as well as one more that we watched this week that, of course, we've seen like 80 billion times. Watch the original Addams Family,
I did
which
too.
is the fucking best, man. It's the
still
fucking best.
Yeah, you can't beat it. You really can't. And like, you know, we're really lucky that we grew up in a time when like Hocus Pocus, The Witches, all that stuff was coming out. But I wonder how many great Halloween kids movies we're missing out on because we're not kids. Like,
That's
there's
true.
got to be a ton that have come out that we've missed from the 2000s, 2010s, and now 2020s that I really want to find those. I want to make that my mission maybe next Halloween to watch things like Halloween Town, which I've heard of but never seen. Just to maybe give some of the newer stuff a chance.
Yeah, no doubt, because it's like you said, it's not like they quit making great children's Halloween-based movies back when we were kids. Like, I'm sure there's others that we just don't know about, right?
We just don't have nostalgia for them. And, you know, honestly, watching Witches, Hocus Pocus, and Ernest Scared Stupid, and Addams Family, I don't think it's all nostalgia. I think those movies are just good movies.
I think the same thing, too. Like, I know that there's probably a lot of those that we do just like because we liked it when we were kids or whatever, but I legit think that all of those that you just named off are like, no, they're good because they're good. Like, I feel like you could show that to any kids these days and they'd still think it was awesome, even if you had to explain why they couldn't just use their cell phone to call for help or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And why Ernest didn't dab after he beat the trolls. You got to explain these things for the kids.
You know, you do need to explain that anyway. Like, you're supposed to dab after you do cool things, right?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
doing
how it
it
works.
now.
Yeah?
I'm with it. I'm with the kids. The kids do this.
Yeah. So, yeah, treasures that surpass all time. That's what we've been watching this week, as well as a little talkie picture that we're going to get into chatting about today called La Croft.
La Croft.
La
Oh, wait.
Croft.
Did you watch The Croft? Is that
Yeah,
a
I watched The
different movie?
Croft. Yeah, it was a pornography film about Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. That's what we watched, right?
Yep.
It was an adult film.
Yeah, all right. I mean, yeah, that's what I watched as well. Was an adult film. Very adult. No teen problems at all.
No. Man, Steve, I'll tell you what, that's a pretty intense amount of chin wagging we've been doing about all of our flicks that we've been watching this week. All of this movement of my chin and my gums through the air has gotten me parched. I think I've exposed my mouth to too much dry air, and now I need something to put inside of my face to rehydrate me and invigorate me.
Well, man, my chin's all wagged out.
You're all wagged. I thought you were doing a Jimmy Stewart impression for a second again.
I guess I am.
Oh,
Jimmy Stewart, and my chin's all wagged out.
My jaw don't work no more. I'm Jimmy Stewart. What do you say we do about our chin wag problem?
Why don't we just have us a big old cold beer?
How about that? I'll crack one open.
Cracking open a cold beer. This also, for the past few weeks, we've been doing beers Lamar sent us.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also from Lamar. It is Adalbert's Brewery Wit Ale.
Ooh.
The Blessed One Naked Nun.
Oh, my God.
Naked ass nun. I'm cool with that.
Look out. This is a wit beer, so we should be expecting maybe some banana-y, clovey notes, a little wheatiness on the back.
All sorts of spices and cloves.
Some spice and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's okay, but I mean, it seems like this is a good time of year to have a beer with some spice and stuff going on. We've actually not done any, pumpkin beers or anything like that on the show this year.
I am not upset about that.
I'm not all that mad about it, because instead we've been drinking good
pumpkin
ones.
beers out there, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, most of them aren't. But whenever you find a good one, they are great.
Yeah, and if you got a good one in your local area, let us know about it. We'd definitely like to try it.
Tell us about that beer. I'm pouring this thing into a glass, and it's developing a frothy head on top.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's got quite a head on it,
He's
doesn't
a
it?
foamy boy right here, but I'm going to go in and get me a sip of this thing.
Smells nice.
See what it does for me here. Yeah, it does. It smells very nicely.
Give it a sip, too, here.
Oh, that is boldly flavored. It's got a fairly light ABV to it, so I wasn't sure how flavorful it would be. That's got a lot going on. That's a mouth punch.
It's got like that smokiness to it, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And good spice. Yeah, man.
But it's not too sweet either. That's the problem with a lot of wits.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, they get too much.
Yeah, with a wit, you can go way wrong. And this is on the right side, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Lamar.
5.8. Yeah, thanks, Lamar. 5.8. That's low for beers we normally try.
Yeah.
But high for normal beer.
I guess so. That's awesome stuff, man. Well, Steve, the subject of our show today is, of course, The Hoft from 1996. And in this movie, we've got a girl who's just like, hey, you know what? I'm just a girl in the world, no doubt. But hey, maybe I find out that I'm a natural. A natural what? A natural woman? No, a natural witch. Holy moly, Steve. What if we're witches and don't even know it?
How could we find out, Ben? What are we going to do? Are we going to step into the Preview Palace?
Welcome to the Preview Palace. Tiny Tim. I wanted that to come out more witchy, but it was like, nah, it's
Tiny Timmy, yeah.
Yeah, there's a fine line. Maybe Tiny Tim was a witch.
Holy shit, that makes sense now. Now
it's all
Tiptoe
coming
Through
together.
the Tulips is creepy.
That's right. He was tiptoeing through the tulips. That way he could gather some sage to smudge his room and cast some spells. That's the untold
and then maybe
story.
He had some baby fat there so he could fly
away from the tulips on his ukulele. I don't know.
Away from the tulips.
Steve, I think that now that we're here in the Preview Palace, we should find out if maybe there is a chance that we are witches. I'd be really disappointed to know that I had lived this far with the ability to witch, and I've not been taking advantage of it. I'd be really upset.
The biggest waste of my life to have found out that whole time I had witch powers. It was just getting up and walking to the refrigerator like an asshole.
I know. I could be doing Accio Cobeer.
Accio Cobeer.
Do you think that magic works with like Southern redneck slang that we use? Accio, quart of oil.
We'll
and it's like,
talk
yes,
about
a quart
it
of
more
oil.
when we talk about Wicca, but it is much more about intention than Harry Potter seems to believe. Because Harry Potter's all about like correct pronunciation and wand swishing. And I think Wiccans would say that shit doesn't matter.
I got it. Well, Steve, I think that we can find out by going to those witches and wizards at BuzzFeed, as we often do, and consult with them on this 6-question quiz that is titled ever wonder if you're which?
Am I which?
Am I which? Answer some questions to reveal all. Now, this is the thing, is like, by using that contraction of your, in a way it is correct in a fucked up way, because it's saying, ever wondered if you are which? I guess you'd have an A in front of it.
You still need an article,
just delete that. I was homeschooled. Just mark that, delete that. Never mind. Never mind.
I don't know. Don't we want people to know the end result of homeschool education?
Actually, yes. Leave this in as a precautionary message. You'll grow to be a fucking 36-year-old not understand how fucking articles work.
Ever wonder if you're which? I'm excited, Ben, because I have wondered, like, what if, my whole childhood was wanting every book to be a spell book.
Wow, yeah.
I just thought, like, if you read books, like, you can say spells or something.
You attain the hidden knowledge.
Yeah, and to eventually be able to cast spells. But never came about. So let's find out if I've been wasting my life.
It'd be good news to find out that, you were right all along. All right, Steve, pick a place for a coven meeting. Where are you going to meet with your coven? Is it going to be a restaurant?
I think it's a coven, right?
Don't worry about it. The public library, a cemetery, or a faux rest. Where are you going to meet with your bunch?
Rest.
Where are you going to bring your crew?
Well, as I just said, I wished every book was a spell book. The public library. That's where we meeting.
All right. That sounds like a good plan. They need some business and stuff in there.
Yep.
I think I'm going to go to a restaurant and conjure up some delicious dishes. I think that sounds like a great idea.
That does sound like seriously, yeah. I think that'd be fun. And then, you put a love potion in something and then someone becomes obsessed.
Maybe that happens. I don't know.
Yeah. Pick a name, Ben. I don't know where these names come from necessarily, but I'm pretty sure it's just names of witches. Sally. Serena. Sabrina.
Oh.
Jefferson.
I like the plainness of Jefferson. I think that's sounds like a good boring witch name. I'm going to go with Jefferson.
I'm going to go with Sally.
All right, Steve, pick a place to live. You're going to be a witch or maybe not. Where are you going to live at? Are you going to be casting spells all over the city? You going to be hexing the forest right near the beach? Or are you going to be in the burbs?
Well, I would prefer it to be in a city by the beach, but I'll go with a city.
Okay, all right. I'm thinking I could probably get up to some fun witchcraftery right near the beach. I think it seems like there's some potential there. Maybe I hex some dolphins, right?
Take that, sons of bitches.
Yeah.
You know what they're saying when they're all
oh, it's nothing good. It's racist.
Oh, it's all racist.
That's what people don't know about dolphins.
They absolutely hate Bulgarians.
Yeah, really hard.
Like, how have they developed this hatred?
Systemic. It's from the ground up.
It is from the ground up in Dolphin Society. Pick a place to eat, Ben.
All right.
Home or at a friend's. Olive Garden. Applebee's.
Oh.
A locally owned Restair.
Restair. Is that a thing? Can you call it a Restair?
I don't think so.
I think their spelling just really ran out of steam at that point. Like, Restar.
They're like, yeah, whatever.
Hey,
you'll get it.
I get it. Like, I don't know if I can personally spell restaurant without the help of autocorrect. There's a UA in there that seems to change all the fucking time.
Yeah,
exactly. Damn it.
I do have to say it. I have to say out loud, restaurant. I'm not good with some words, and one of them in particular is professor.
Professor, okay.
Yeah, and I was gonna become one. And that was kind of one of the tipping points too. It was like, man, you struggle to spell professor.
Well, dude, when you do that, all you have to do is abbreviate it on the blackboard as prof, and that's it.
Yeah, you know what it is.
But then you go up there and you'd be like PROPH. Prof.
Yep. That's me, the prof.
Steve, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna
do a little bit of a reverse strategy here. I'm gonna go eat at the Olive Garden, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna call the four corners of the restaurants, and I'm gonna get Manon to just fucking lightning strike every Olive Garden across the nation using my witch powers.
Okay.
Get rid of them.
Yes, please. Oh my God. Olive Garden food smells like dog food to me, and I've said this before. It smells like dog food. I'm going to say home or at a friend's. I or my friends tend to cook better than any restaurant I've ever been to.
You damn right.
Yeah.
Bitches don't know shit about my Chef Boyardee.
Listen, Ben, he doesn't just pour it straight out of the can. He warms the can up in a pot of boiling water.
Yeah.
And then he hands you the can.
I'm going to tell you the real secret right here. I add in a pinch of dried parsley.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
A pinch of dried parsley. And then like a packet of some shitty Parmesan that's mostly wood.
It's mostly wood, yes, and it makes all the difference.
Ooh, so good. Doesn't taste like sand.
Not at all. Steve, pick a gerb. You need a gerb as a witch, I guess. What's going to be your gerb?
Okay.
You got to be a doctor? Dr. Witch? Oh, is that a witch doctor? I think it would be.
Dr. Witch medical woman.
I want that show.
Yeah.
You could be a very witchy florist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Witch actor. That makes you Fairuza Balk, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or are you going to be a witch singer, a.k.a. Stevie Nicks?
She was a witch singer. I can't sing, and I don't want to doct. It's either florist or actor. I'm going to go with actor.
Okay, going to be a fucking actor. You're going to cast spells across the world of entertainment.
Haha, take this, my adoring public, I'll say.
It's going to be singer for me, because I think the only thing that could make Davy Stranger cooler is if he was also a witch. Yeah,
that would be absolutely. The raw sexual magnetism of Davy Stranger combined with witchiness. Oof.
Unstoppable. Ben, what's our last question here?
Pick a familiar.
Ooh, it's a familiar, huh?
Well, it's not spelled that way, but, you know. Some of them have fur.
That's true.
We got a kitty cat.
Meow.
Looks like a crow or a raven. Yeah. Either way, cool. Then we got a cute little doggy with a flower in its mouth.
Woof, bork, bork.
And then a sea turtle. So I guess you live in the ocean. Yep, that's what sea turtles sound like.
That was my turtle noise, y'all.
Yeah.
You know what?
You gonna pick?
I think it's just it's gonna be. I'm not really ready to take on another dog right now. I was gonna say dog, but
too much, right?
We're living in this teeny tiny apartment, and that's a golden retriever. That's a big boy right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get this crow to be my buddy, because that thing's gonna fly out all around Knoxville and just tell me what's going on. He's gonna spy on the people that are drunk and fighting in the streets on Friday nights. Tell me what they got up to and help me make fun of them.
Yeah, I would have picked that too. That's the best choice, I think, because boy, they can fly, they can steal stuff, just awesome.
But, nevermore.
I wouldn't mind having a second dog. That dog is a bit big, but man, it's so cute. So I'm gonna pick that doggy.
Go with that, Derek. Oh my God, Steve.
Yeah.
I am witch.
You are witch?
I am witch. Ever notice supernatural things happening around you? That's because you're witch. And if you don't want to be witch, well, you were definitely one in a past life. That can't be helped. Might as well embrace the magic inside you. Oh my God, Steve. Am witch.
Okay, so Ben, I am not a witch. And I'm actually going to punch up what it says here because I read it and I was like, they should have said this. Sorry, but you're not a witch. This isn't all bad. Here's my punch up. Witching ain't easy. Right?
Yeah. Witching ain't easy. It's what they say.
Being a witch isn't easy. Lame. Magic can be a tricky mistress. So I'm not a witch. I haven't been wasting my life, at least in regards to magic.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's good news. Are you gonna maybe burn me at the stake or anything, Steve? Is this something I need to be worried about?
Due to jealousy for not being a witch, I do I feel like that might have been it, right? Like people were like, I think she's a witch. Why am I not?
Damn it.
Burn that motherfucker.
I didn't know that was an option. Shit. All right, Steve, we're here to be talking about The Craft, a.k.a. Hexen Club, from
Hexen Club.
1996. Yeah. And this is a movie that I saw for the first time actually just like 2 or 3 years ago, because me and my very conservative upbringing remembers when this movie came out, and it was like, in the Christian scene anyway, a legit like dangerous movie. It's like they're educating children about witchcraft.
That.
Like people were scared.
I remember people being like, "Oh my God, what in the world is this world where there are people that are worried that their invisible friend is going to get mad about a made-up movie with an invented god." Like
the whole entire universe he created, and that's kind of all he's really pissed about.
God, he's so pissed about it. He's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they made a movie that would make teenage girls feel like they could go to a movie and see their friendships reflected." I'm so mad.
I really hate I gave him free will to do that thing that they did. Damn it.
I mean, genocide I could be upset about, but
probably The Craft.
The Craft. Yeah.
Dude, when this came out, though, like, I remember there being a real legit outrage kind of in my, homeschooled Christian community. People were really scared about this. I mean, and it's kind of funny, too, because I remember a lot of other things around the same time period as being viewed as like, yo, this is legit dangerous. I mean, whether you're talking about fucking Marilyn Manson or remember Godsmack had that voodoo song that was about being Wicca. There was a lot of things going on that were making the conservative parents quake in their conservative boots.
Yeah, it's the worst whenever conservative pearl clutching gets to be the norm. It's the fucking worst. So
it doesn't usually result in anything great happening.
No, it's never once resulted in anything great happening. So let's not do it.
Maybe try that. Maybe try that.
Yeah, it was the worst. I remember seeing this in theaters.
Ooh, you bad boy.
Probably some of it was that. Just a fuck you because of all the shitty, stupid, narrow-minded stuff that I heard people say. But, it's just a high schooler movie. There's nothing to it beyond that. Like, I mean, it does do a fair job of representing Wicca with an invented god, invented particularly to be respectful of Wiccans. So you're not just throwing around the names of gods and goddesses that some people hold to be sacred or powerful. Like, but what you're seeing really is like, it's like folk magic. It's like it's where magic originated, from people who didn't have power wanting to feel powerful and saying, if I do this, maybe, at least believing that if I do this, it'll give me the power that I want.
Yeah, it'll influence something to happen, because otherwise I am powerless, living as a serf in this kingdom.
It's an expression of powerlessness, and it is perfectly attuned to the teenage girl audience. Not that it's not attuned to all audiences, but I mean, this is specifically aimed at them because of that feeling of powerlessness specifically women can have in a very patriarchal society, which we're probably going to say a whole bunch in this episode. That women can experience in this society, and then like the ways in which they can find power, and to have this like fantasy of like, what if you could just get what you wanted. And also how magic has always been, or I guess in specific ways like the tarot or reading tea leaves and things, have always been kind of used as really just a way of self-reflection. The idea of like, what if you could make this person love you? Really think that out. Is that a good thing? It's more about accepting the reality of the universe than actually being able to fully change it. So I think the upsetness one might feel as a Christian watching this is just like, what are you mad about? That there's some sort of freedom? That there's some sort of like ideal universe where women aren't enslaved? Like,
Yeah. Well,
what
I just
are you
think that
afraid of?
they were so scared of this movie because it showed, these girls finding a way of their own that wasn't through the church and wasn't through Jesus and stuff to gain fantastical abilities and become X-Men and stuff like this. I think that it legit scared people into thinking, like, my kids might go to Crystal Visions and Easttown Mall and come home
exactly
with
what I
a Wiccan
thought,
book.
by the way.
Yeah, no, dude, the whole movie, like, Crystal Visions the whole time.
Actually, this movie made me go buy incense.
Oh, yeah?
It
Just
really
smoke some
did.
up a little
Like,
bit?
I was like, man, I remember, because I used to burn incense in my room back in 96. I was just watching this and having this real nostalgic feel, and specifically when they go into the occult store. It was
dude.
Crystal Visions, and like that place always smelled like incense.
I was
And I
gonna
was
say
at the store and I saw incense, and I was just like, I'm gonna buy some incense.
I think that there's certain shops that are like that, where like you could be blindfolded and led into an Asian grocery store and be like, oh, it's an Asian grocery store. There's an Asian grocery store smell.
Oh, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
just a thing.
Yeah.
But there's also like, oh, a cult store smell. Like,
Yeah.
you know that
There's
smell
the
a mile
occult store
away.
And the head shop smell.
Totally. Absolutely.
Which is now replaced by vape shops, which smell a little bit different, but still have a very particular smell.
I know what you mean, though, dude. Whenever they walk into that store, I was like, I can smell this through the screen.
Yeah.
And I like what I'm smelling.
Yep, exactly.
So obviously I didn't see this when I was a kid, and it's like watching this for the first time as a near mid 30-something, white dude. I realized, like, this is not really made for me. So I'm not,
it's a teen movie.
I'll say, like, without a doubt, like, I'm not the best authority to be talking about what this movie is really saying. I can just tell you what it means from my perspective.
Sure. But it's definitely, it had its impact in 96, because like I mean, one, it was a surprise hit. It made like 40 million over budget. But the thing is, that was mostly teenagers, really. That was teenagers going to see this. So this movie had a big impact on older millennials and I guess some Gen X folks.
Yeah.
Late Gen X. Like, it had an impact, and definitely you can see that today in the way that we're all pretty flippant about witchcraft and Wicca.
Yeah, that's
Like,
something that I was thinking about, man. It's like there's all these hashtags and stuff across Instagram of, like there's a lot of people that are into things like crystals and tarot and stuff like this
it's
now. And there's a lot of girls that are real fashionable that wear them big black floppy hats that a friend of mine calls Undertaker hats, because I just think about the Undertaker whenever I see him.
I know what you're talking about. I like that. They're cute. They're cute on girls, but not as cute on the Undertaker.
Less cute on him, I think. Yeah. But yeah, that's the interesting thing about this is, like, even though there's a lot less people now that I think would identify as like, I'm Wiccan, there's still a lot of people that dabble in witchery of sorts. I don't know if it's really as affiliated with a group as a practicing Wiccan would be, but it's kind of like you said, maybe it's through movies and stuff like this that all this shit got kind of defanged a little bit, and it's not this scary occult demonology anymore.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, the thing is, in the 60s and 70s, there was the revival of like astrology and tarot. I mean, we talked about it on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre episode,
right?
Which uses those things. But there was a revival of it, but then we had the Satanic Panic and just the pearl clutching of the 90s, and this movie, I think, was kind of one of the things that helps to bring us out of it, that helps to just expose an entire generation to, one, kind of the silliness of it. And I'm not trying to downplay anyone's religion, but I do think that anyone who's very serious about Wicca will say that, like, it's not necessarily about really controlling the universe so much as about learning to understand yourself and learning to commune with nature and be at one with the world around you.
Yeah.
Which is great and wonderful and a great thing. So I'm not downplaying that, but this movie is presenting it in a childish teenage way on purpose. Like, they had a Wiccan advisor on set who they created Manon as like a god for them to worship, so that they didn't actually invoke someone that Wiccans would hold sacred or important.
Yeah, powerful.
So, like,
yeah.
So like this is supposed to be kind of silly, and it by doing that, it does help you to see like, oh, it's not scary. It's not like something to worry about.
Yeah, they're
So
not
it
fucking
kinda-
dancing around worshiping Satan or anything like that.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, once they start like really showing their powers, it's when it gets real ridiculous, and it's like, oh, of course that's not gonna happen. If that was gonna happen, we would have seen it. If people could do that shit, of course they'd be doing it.
They
Like,
do it all the time.
yeah, so I think it has a real good like effect on the teenagers that did watch it, of like just helping us get past that stupid moral crusade of the 80s and 90s.
I think so, man. And, you know, whenever I watched this movie the first time, I was like first struck by enjoying it because it's just so damn late 90s. Like, I'm always super nostalgic for that shit. Like, whenever we do any of the movies that were out from this era, like, I automatically give it like 3 bonus points because I'm like, yeah, fucking 90s, right? You know? You remember that?
Super 90s, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for nostalgia, so I enjoyed it on those points. I remember thinking that it was, yeah, it's like, this is really silly and over dramatic and stuff. But, you know, this time watching it with a more finely tuned eye, maybe I even viewed it with my third eye. Ooh.
So you just whipped out your butt, brown-eyed it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, that's what that means, right?
Yeah, I thought so.
That's what Tool's
Tool
always
was
thinking about.
talking about, and then third eye, right? Prying open my butthole.
I saw this awesome meme the other day that was like, is this artwork from a sinus medication or is it Tool artwork? Because it's all these, like, you know, pictures of like dudes that are standing there nude with like red heat sensors on their face to indicate they have a cold and stuff, and it's like, I don't know, that could be Tool artwork. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Steve, did you enjoy this movie the first time that you saw it?
Yeah. It was, I mean, the thing was that watching it as a teen, it was about teenage girl issues, and as a teenage boy, I think teenage boys now are maybe better informed about what teenage girls are going through.
Lord, I hope. I was told they pee out their butts.
Yeah, like we didn't know shit. Like, I have a friend who would swear that women didn't shit. And I was like, I have a sister, dude. She shits. It's normal. Anyway, I think he settled on, okay, maybe most women shit, but Beyonce doesn't.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
All right.
I mean, that's
fine.
exactly where I am.
She probably doesn't, actually, now that I think of it. She probably got a Ken doll butt.
She's got people to do that for her.
Yeah, she pays someone to shit for her. But yeah, like, I think guys today are more informed, but when I was a teenager, it was like, oh, these are problems I don't understand entirely, but the movie still works as a high school movie, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, totally, man. And I think it's easy to get drawn into when you have a cast like this movie does, because even though a lot of these people weren't necessarily like household names at this point, it wouldn't be long before they were.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Robin Tunney, who plays Sarah, our main character, Empire Records, I think, came out in this year or the year after, right?
I think it was the year before, because that's why she had shaved her head.
Oh, right. Yeah, she had shaved her head, right. So she was wearing a wig the whole time. So yeah, the year before. So she had just done Empire Records.
Love that movie. Do you like that movie?
Yes, I do. It is very 90s and doesn't entirely hold up. But,
there's some problematic stuff in there for sure.
But it's got its moments.
What's with today? I love that guy.
Rory Cochran's great. Empire Records is one I would almost say we should do as a wild card.
Agreed.
It's so far outside of the scope of horror, but we did Home Alone, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
We got her. We got Fruza Balk, who she had done Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, I think 95, and then, you know, we all know her from Waterboy as well.
Oh,
but
yeah.
She stood out in everything she does.
Oh, yeah.
Because of her distinctive, like, bright blue eye, dark hair appearance. I mean, she was in Return to Oz as a kid, and I mean, that movie's fucked up.
I've heard that's really fucking weird. I've never seen that one either. Also, we should do that.
Probably do that one. Yeah, that one's fucked up.
She's
But yeah,
really just made to play this kind of role. Like she has
go crazy. Yeah.
And I don't want to sound mean or anything here. She has a different look about her. She doesn't look like a Hollywood starlet.
It's true. Yeah. It's why she was cast. She was cast for her distinctive appearance. And so she's, I guess the distinction that comes across is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
so that's
she's
what
got
she
a wild
ends up
look
playing
about
a
her.
lot. Yeah, she's got a wild look about her, so she ends up playing that a good bit. We also got Nev Campbell, who, she was Party of Five before this, but this is before Scream by like 7 months.
Yeah, not long after
months.
this. Yeah.
So
she blew up.
Yeah, she's not fucking Sidney Prescott yet, but she's Nev Campbell, so people recognize her from Party of Five. And then, of course, Rachel True, who... the role I always remember her for is Mary Jane in Half Baked.
Of course, that is the one. Career highlight right there. Half Baked is so fucking good, man.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, love it.
But yeah, just straight. And Skeet Ulrich and Breckin Meyer, both.
Breckin Meyer,
90s.
dude. Do you think that guy's like dad had dirt on somebody in Hollywood and they were just like, okay, we'll push him to become a star? Because he was in like every fucking movie. As that like floppy haired dude in class. Like he was always just some guy.
He's like such a chill dude. He seemed to fit into because the roles that he played were like, it's almost like you could take Breckin Meyer and put him in any movie and just say be Breckin Meyer. And you'd be like, okay, you got the Breckin Meyer character in there. He was like, because he's the same sort of character in Freddy's Dead or whatever.
Yeah, and Clueless.
And Clueless, yeah. So I think he was typecast, and not in a negative way for him, because it ended up making him money.
I'll tell you this, though. Talk about typecasting, man. How would you feel to be, what's her name that plays Sarah? Robin?
Oh, yeah, Robin Tunney.
And I guess she was just typecast as like, she looks like the kind of person that would probably slit her wrist and kill herself because
right.
I was like in Empire Records, she slit her wrist. Then it's like, we need to get her in this movie as the girl who slit her wrist too.
Yeah.
Like, holy moly, what kind of typecasting is that?
Oh man, I didn't even realize that she was in Encino Man as well.
Oh,
I had such a huge crush on her throughout the 90s.
Dude,
From
she's
Encino
great.
Man, Empire Records, The Craft. She is so awesome.
Like
great actress, gorgeous, just awesome. And watching back on it now, like I didn't even realize she's 23 in this. So she had done Empire Records and Encino Man before this. She's already great, but then like she's had a huge like TV career after too. So like she's still out there kicking ass. I mean, yeah, other than it looks like from what I researched on my IMDb, all four are still doing stuff. Ruza Balk does music more now.
Oh, really?
And of course Nev Campbell is gonna be in Scream 5 coming up.
Man, I hope they don't screw the pooch on that one. I hope that's good.
Well,
having 5 as the suffix doesn't bode well for most things.
Right, but 3 is and 4 is I mean, enjoyable, but So as long as it's on par with the past couple.
All right, we'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it. Yeah, star-studded cast. That is a lot of fun in this, and I think that they put a decent amount of thought into a lot of these characters and kind of their individual lives and storylines and stuff. I think that Nev Campbell's Bonnie, for example, is I would sum up her character as saying she's Snapey Kruger, right? Little Snape, little Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because she's got the hair in the eyes, but the burn scars.
That's right, exactly. We never find out where the burn scars came from, by the way.
No,
I assume because
don't.
the parents of the town boiled her alive and burnt up her boiler room that she was in because she was killing kids, I guess.
Yeah. Well, she's always been into witchcraft.
She earned them scars.
Yeah. You want to know how I got these scars? We should do a prequel about her.
Yeah. Where she is simultaneously the Joker, Severus Snape, and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. I got one major problem with the fact that Nev Campbell isn't popular because she has burn scars nobody can see. She's still gorgeous.
She's still absolutely gorgeous, yeah.
Like, even if she was like, oh, I don't want people to see my burn scars, people would still be approaching her regularly. Like, hey, what's your deal? Hot chick? Like,
Yeah.
why is no one talking to you? I don't understand this.
Yeah, you're right. It's not like they're visible and like all over her face or anything like that.
I mean, it's the same. Same with Rachel True. Like, I mean, I understand Fairuza Balk is putting off a vibe. Like, she is putting off the fuck everybody vibe. But like, Rachel True and Nev Campbell aren't popular, but they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, it just does. Like, that's. I mean, not to say every popular girl was gorgeous and every non-popular girl wasn't gorgeous. It's just like them being outcasts is almost like their choice. Like, you could just be like, hey, what's up? And everybody be like, oh, hello, pretty person. We like pretty people.
But yeah, like every character in this kind of has their own struggle that they're going through. And one thing that I like is that, you know, our main girl, Sarah here, even though she is kind of the chosen one, the wonder child that's a natural witch and all this kind of stuff, she's a flawed protagonist. Like, she has this past where she had some issues and, you know, she tried killing herself and stuff. Like, she comes from what seems like a pretty normal family. It doesn't seem like, well, I mean, her mother died, I guess, when she was born. Yeah. But, you know, she doesn't come from a super fucked up background or anything. But, you know, she has mental problems.
Yeah, she just has. That is exactly it. It's a good depiction because it doesn't try to explain it with an event. She can just have depression. Like, that's fine.
Kind of normalizes you know, that side of mental illness.
Yeah. So that you know, that's what she's dealing with is I would say depression. Nev Campbell dealing with the burn scars. Fairuza Balk dealing with generational wealth inequality.
Trashiness. She's got a trashiness problem.
Well, I mean, yeah, but let's contextualize it in a way the movie doesn't, because the movie calls it just trashiness. Yeah, like white trash. But that is, I mean, okay. Boy, I didn't know this was going to become political, but it is. Here's something I want to talk about.
Never on this show, Steve.
Yeah, here's something I've wanted to talk about for a while. I need everybody outside of the South to understand something. When you see video of Southerners driving in these big, jacked up King Ranch Ford 350s, wearing body armor and carrying AR-15s, they are selling you a story. And that is the story that in the South, that is us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me tell you who those people are. Those are our bosses. Those are our managers.
Pretty much.
Those are the contractors, not the guys hanging the sheetrock.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not representations of the people that you call white trash. They are white trash. They have money and they choose to be that way. The people who don't have money, who have suffered from generational wealth inequality, they are not trash people. They just don't have an outlet. They don't have an opportunity for a better world.
That's true. It's all they know.
Yeah, it's all they know. And they're being brainwashed by the assholes with the AR-15. They're the ones in fucking control.
Right, yeah.
So we hate them too. just so you know. And what I see with Fairuza Balk's character Nancy, what I see is a mother who perhaps was a sex worker, who didn't have access to birth control or abortion, who had a child that she couldn't afford and brought in a man to help her around the house, even though that man is abusive to her and sexualizing her daughter, but she can't see any other way out.
Yeah. This is right back to damn Halloween that we just did like last week.
Yes. Yeah, so the movie characterizes them as white trash, and that is a 90s understanding of poverty, but poverty is not earned.
Yeah.
It is oftentimes inherited, just like wealth. So that being said, it is a really good depiction though of poverty.
Yeah, I think so too, because also whenever they find out that they're getting $175,000 out of his life insurance policy, it's like, listen, in the real world, that's not that much money, but when you're like poor, you're like, we're fucking rich, dude.
Yep. It is an insurmountable amount of money when it's a debt and you're poor. So when you get it and you're poor, then it seems like you're now rich.
Yeah, and you got to go buy a
like,
jukebox.
I don't want y'all taxing my wealth. And it's like, you aren't even close to wealth.
Not even
so
close.
You know.
No.
Yeah. But that is a lot of money. I mean, for me, I think about it. It's like that would change everything for me. Like,
sure.
Yeah, I'd pay off every bit of debt I have, and I wouldn't have any money left over, but my debt would be paid off.
Sounds like you need to go find yourself an abusive husband.
That's what
who's
I've been
got
thinking.
a heart problem or something, man.
That's
Maybe you find
thinking.
yourself a mean sugar daddy.
For some reason has a $175,000 life insurance policy. That is not something you find a lot among people living in the Los Angeles trailer park. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, the Los Angeles trailer park where it rains all the fucking time. What?
Dude, okay, so I was watching this and being like, how did they catch this much rain? Because like in Los Angeles, like 14 inches of rain a season is the average.
Yeah.
Which isn't a lot.
Not much.
Not a lot. And so, like, if you want to shoot in the rain, a lot of times you have to have a number of locations scouted out and watch the weather and be ready to go to that location quickly. But in this case, they caught rain a few times, so I had to look it up. The 90s had, mid-90s specifically, an unusual amount of rain. So
really?
When you watch movies in Los Angeles in the 90s and you see it rain so much, it's because it rained there more than normal. So they probably took advantage and shot more than normal in the rain.
I was really wondering about that, man, because like whenever the movie starts and Sarah and her family show up to that house that I guess they've never seen before but bought sight unseen, I guess. Yep. What the fuck? Yeah, it's like raining and the roof is leaking and stuff. And I'll tell you this too, man, like the entire front half, I won't say front half, the entire intro of this movie really, like when they show up to the house and all that, gave me like really strong Hellraiser vibes. Like it really has that same vibe as like that creepy big house in Hellraiser. And then even like the homeless guy with the snake that shows up, like that feels very Clive Barker to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the way he talks and stuff, the whole scene is just weird and illogical and like almost Argento-y. In a way, like you halfway expect it to have bad ADR filling in the gaps of the dialogue.
That was a real good way to put it. Like it's so Argento-y because he yells "relax" at her. And it's like that is straight out of an Argento movie. Nobody's gonna be relaxed when you yell at them. That's just not how that works.
It's not how that works usually. No. But yeah, I like the house and stuff. I think the house is like also nearly a character in the movie, especially towards the end of it there, where it really takes on that feel of this really big, creepy Spanish mission kind of house. I like that vibe.
Yeah, it was raining in that shot when they get there at the LAX when they arrive. It's raining later when Nancy goes to her trailer. It's raining like downtown is wet when they're walking through.
Yeah.
It is a slick ass movie.
I'll tell you the impression I got out of this is that they ain't no good roofers worth a damn over in LA County. All these roofs be leaking.
Roofs.
Too. But you know, like I said, all these characters have their own little story arcs and stuff like that. But when you scope out a little bit, you realize some of them are dealing with problems of maybe a little bigger than others in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I mean, here's how I would rank it. I would say Nev Campbell burn scars that are hidden by just wearing a shirt. Low.
I'm going to call that low priority. I realize that probably does things to your self-esteem and stuff, but I mean, it's not life-ruining.
Then I would say the wealth inequality, a little bit higher than that. But then we got way up here, systemic generational racism.
That's top of the heap.
By a rich blonde girl at a private school.
That used to be a star on Hey Dude, no less.
That used to be on Hey Dude,
Come on,
no
Marsha Brady. Get it together.
What's interesting is I mean, the burn scars are nowhere near depression and poverty or racism. But they didn't actually have the racism angle in the original script. They cast Rachel True because she was good and then changed the character to be black. And then they were like, well, what is the biggest problem that black people have to deal with? Racism. It kind of outweighs, though, than all of like Nev Campbell's angst. It's like Your angst is so tiny compared, but it's a good realistic depiction of reality where you can have this set of friends where all of them have their issues, but because they're teenagers, they hold their issues at equal levels, kind of.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, we're all going through shit. But it's like the moment one of them gets any perspective, they'll be like, wait a second. So your problem was just burn scars and now they're just gone?
Meanwhile,
I still got depression. Racism still exists. Poverty's still a thing.
That's the thing, too, that I got out of it is, man, I was like, they make their wishes and stuff, and it's like, wow, Nev Campbell's scars go away. That's amazing. And then for Rochelle, which way is it?
Yeah.
Rochelle? Damn it. I always fuck names up, dude. Rochelle.
Whatever.
Like, for her, it's like, my problem is systematic racism. And fucking Manon is like, I don't know, we'll make that one's hair fall out, I guess. That's the best I can do. It's like going to GameStop, and they're like, best I can do is $30. It's like, yeah, best I can do is make her hair fall out. That's all I got. I'm Manon. Move on.
Here's a bunch of dead sharks. Is that cool?
Is that enough? I don't know. Whatever. It's the best I can do. Yeah, that kind of sucks for her, because at the end of the day, the problem isn't even solved. I mean, I guess honestly though, like, her wish was to not hate the people that hate her, and she ends up being sympathetic for this piece of shit racist girl that never sees any consequence for what she does. It's just that she's able to not hate her. It's like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, and that is a 90s namby-pamby, like, basically the black character in these white anti-racism fantasies comes to accept racism. Like, that's like the arc is like white
good.
People are like, oh, learn to forgive and forget, and it's like, bitch, it's still gonna exist if I forgive and forget. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they don't really get their comeuppance here, do they?
Yeah, they don't. So I think, maybe that was because they had to do some late rewrites, and so they didn't get it as good as they get the other stuff. Because you do see that, in all honesty, I think Fairuza Balk may also be dealing with, aside from dealing with the effects of poverty, dealing with some issues with anxiety or depression herself. And it's kind of showing us a good mirror between her and Sarah, where Sarah has the resources and support.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's where some of the jealousy comes from.
Yeah, I suppose that's right, man. And the thing about the drama, like the racist stuff too, that really blows is, even though they made it a point to portray that as part of this movie and part of the world that teenagers were living in and stuff at that time, and the whole world was living in at that time and still is. Mm-hmm. The problem is that, like, bled into real life too, where she got super snubbed out of a lot of the promo stuff. Like, she's barely in the trailer. She didn't get invited to a bunch of the press junkets until, like, somebody else in the cast pointed out to her that she wasn't being invited and asked for her to come on. Then, like, dude, the fucking worst of all is the 3 white girls got invited to be on the MTV Video Music Awards, and she didn't. Like, that's fucked up, dude. Like, she is one quarter of the main characters of this movie.
And that's going to be on, because, like, obviously the production was trying to put her on equal footing with everyone, because she has equal screen time, it seems. I mean, Sarah and Nancy get the most screen time because they're protagonist and antagonist, but she has an equal amount of screen time as Nev Campbell. So obviously the production wasn't trying to do that, but it seems like the distributor and whoever was responsible for promotion thought, we need to hide the black character. And I was thinking about that when you mentioned it, when we were talking, and man, it seems like you could easily be like, well, racists exist. And so if you want to get people in to watch your movie with an anti-racist message, maybe you have to hide the black person.
Ugh.
But that's like a real slimy fucking excuse. It just doesn't work for me. So, like, if whatever your excuse is for trying to keep her out of promotion of the material, you were wrong, and you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And Rachel True should be pissed about it too, because it definitely would have helped her career to be there at those things.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt, man. I would have been mad as hell.
Yeah. So that's fucked up and ridiculous. And I actually just dealt with this because I watched Ghostbusters and I posted about it on Instagram. When I first posted it, I just used the promotional poster. And when it went up a second later, I looked at it and I was like, Winston's not on the promotional poster?
Holy shit,
so
for
I
real?
took it down and I had to search. And the thing I found from that time that had Winston on it was the novelization of Ghostbusters.
Dude,
so,
that's pathetic.
It's fucked up. Yeah, I don't understand why you're hiding one of the 4 main characters of your movie.
Yeah. Man, that's fucked up, dude. That's fucked up. But, it's like, I'll tell you this. There are problems like that with this movie, and I think there's some other problems I'll talk about as well that I hope will be rectified in the remake/sequel. I guess it's a sequel that's coming out.
Yeah.
Because it's written by a woman. Like, that's one thing that gives me hope. Is like, this was written by a dude writing about how...
by a dude.
Writing about... Well, I guess this is probably how girls in high school talk, and it's like, you don't fucking know what you're writing about. This is at least being written by a woman. That being said, I've watched the trailer, and it does look like dog shit. It looks like a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie. It looks fucking horrible, but I'm still going to check it out, and I hope that it does better than what I'm anticipating.
I would say it would be unfair for us to judge from a 40-year-old standpoint whether or not the movie is effective for the audience it's intended for.
That's fair.
But I also think, I hate previews. I think they all make movies look like shit now. I haven't seen a preview in forever that I was like, I gotta see that movie.
That's fair.
Mandy. It was probably Mandy was the last time I saw it. I gotta see that. But I'm gonna give it a chance. It is directed by, I think, Zoe Lister-Jones, who is an actress. She was in Delocated, if anybody used to watch that old Adult Swim show. Delocated. I'm interested. I'd like to see what they did with it, but it's a Blumhouse remake, and their Black Christmas remake kind of was shitty, and
Halloween was good.
I don't know if it's about cashing in or they really wanted to make a good sequel to The Craft, so we'll find out though.
Yeah, because I think it's coming out, I believe, the day that this episode comes out, right?
Yeah. By the way, this is an absolute coincidence that I mentioned The Craft and that it comes out this day. We did not know that. But fucking cool.
Manon attended it, man. Blessed be.
I guess, yeah, blessed be. I think it's coming out VOD on the 28th as well. It's not just going to theater, so probably we'll rent it and maybe get back to you guys next week on it.
Maybe we'll do that, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you what, too, though. This movie coming out when it did, and us growing up in the time that we did, really did remind me that the southeastern, kind of low-class, trashy people that got infatuated with Wicca around here in East Tennessee, that is a subset of rednecks that I don't think gets enough attention because it's a treasure.
Well, and I mean... we do have our own folk magic and stuff here in Appalachia. So, I mean, it
makes sense that it clicked.
It makes sense that it clicked, and I wish it had clicked more. I wish people in Appalachia would get back to our roots and shed this Christian ridiculousness. Like, it came in and destroyed a whole bunch of people's folklore and beliefs like it does all over the place. So, it's just you don't have to. You can handle snakes without pretending it's about Jesus.
We're bringing it back.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's East Tennessee snake handling. That is us. That is us. We are goddamn witches and wizards. We're warlocks. We're goddamn all over the place. We're not Christians. So just stop trying to overlay it over our folk beliefs.
Yeah, we're bringing it back. We're taking back the power.
Hell yeah.
Did you know some good old trashy... low-key Wiccans that probably didn't really know what they were talking about, but knew they didn't like to read the Bible? Did you know any of those? Because I did.
I would say that a lot of Wiccans would say it's okay that they didn't know what they were doing. That it's about intention, and not knowing what you're doing is fine. Because maybe there. I don't want to offend any Wiccans. I don't give a shit. I don't offend Christians,
never mind.
Muslims, and everybody else. There are definitely probably some Wiccans who really believe Hecate is out there listening and influencing the world. But I just think that most Wiccans are smarter than that and are really buying into the reflective elements and the ways that it can help you find peace. Yeah. Which is what I like about religions is when it is about peace, when it is about finding your own road and finding who you are. Those are wonderful things. Let's keep that stuff and dump the whole hating this person and hating that person and hating this activity. And it's really crazy to me when people are like, don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. It's like, well, what the fuck's wrong with the sin? Let's talk about some of the sins that you guys believe in. Because I don't think a lot of that shit's wrong.
Yeah. Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Anyway.
But no, that was definitely like a set of people. That was a character class in the Southeast, especially around the time of this. And it was mainly people that saw this movie and or watched the Godsmack Voodoo video like a million times and just like, I think I'll give this a shot.
It's cool that they did. I'm glad they did. It was nice in high school, like that we had some kids that dabbled in that stuff, and I hope it people take more of that, and just like we really do need to, because when you take away people's folklore and culture, you take away the ways they've learned to reflect about themselves. And if you're replacing it with something that is entirely different, they begin to see themselves as a problem and begin to act as different selves. And that's what I would say happens so much with Southerners who buy deep into the church and into capitalism and become these dudes driving around in these jacked up trucks with guns. They've become something that is at risk in the environment of the South, but they claim themselves to be the South itself. Like, it's like the entire Civil War. I've talked about this before. So many people in the South were in deep poverty, did not own slaves, and had no opinion on slavery. Either they were against it or didn't own slaves themselves, so had nothing to do with it. The slave owners were the ones who controlled. It was the people who, again, had the money that controlled the politics of the South and made these things happen. We gotta kick that shit out. I don't know how talking about the craft has turned into me saying we gotta get these goddamn capitalist interests and Christian interests out of the fucking South.
You're casting a spell on these dead and lovely listeners, Steve.
Listen, I hope y'all understand there are Southerners that they don't fit this mentality.
For sure.
We're different. We come from stock that believed that there were goddamn witches and haints and buggers.
Yeah.
And let's get back to that. That stuff is less spooky than hating gay people.
That's true. At the end of the day, definitely less harmful than that, right?
Yep.
You know, one thing that really struck me about this movie when I watched it this time that I didn't really catch the first time is, you know, as we said, it's like I was watching this, I'm like, man, I'm a fucking 36-year-old dude watching this movie. Like, I don't think this is really meant for me. And I was thinking to myself, like, this is probably also the same way that a lot of 30-something women felt in the 80s when they watched The Lost Boys. Because I think that this movie is The Lost Boys for 90s girls.
Absolutely.
So much of it follows that same character arc and narrative in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah, except Nancy doesn't say Sarah nearly enough.
Yeah, that's true. Sarah,
what's his name? Kiefer Sutherland called him Michael like every other sentence.
Michael.
But
yeah, do you think the movies are pretty similar in a lot of ways the more that you start thinking about it, right?
Yeah, they are very similar. I hadn't put that together until you said The Lost Boys, and I was like, fuck, this is The Lost Boys. Yeah, very similar. It ends a little bit different, not as silly an ending, I would say, but definitely like very much mimicking the success of the Lost Boys, but replacing with women and calling it something different. I think that's like,
yeah, it wasn't the Lost Girls. Ooh.
Right, yeah. I think that's where the success comes in, and not just immediately trying to cash in off of the Lost Boys, saying like, oh, that's a good idea. What if we could use like witchcraft and women?
Yeah, I think that's a good path that they took with that as well. And speaking of the ending of the movie, I really do enjoy the ending of this a lot, because this is very much a 3-act movie where it's like, you know, first act is the girls getting to know each other and bonding in their friendship. The second act is when things start getting dramatic, and then the third act is the confrontation, just kind of a classic 3-act arc. And I really do like everything that happens in the third act. I think it is actually pretty intense in a lot of ways. I mean, we do have some kind of crap special effects and stuff in there, here and there.
Yeah, and that is what critics at the time didn't like about a lot of it, was that they showcased those special effects a little too much.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I mean, especially like when we get like the snake fingers thing and all that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like maybe you didn't have to go that far with it, but I think especially when she goes back to that house and it's all dark and stuff, that's where it gets, again, kind of Hellraiser-y to me in a lot of ways. And I think it does get really cool and really intense, and that's definitely aided by Fairuza Balk being fucking cranked up to damn 11, dude.
She's so good in this role. Like she I would say this and The Waterboy really showcase her talent the best. Yeah. It's like, because she can be wacky, silly, but also scary, or she can be scary, and she's just so intense in the moments, and just like really going for it. And she's young here, like 21, like, so she's just all out, like, and it works. Like there are definitely ways she could have been over the top, but I think instead of it being over the top, it's just like full on teenage girl angst coming out.
Yeah. Well, and this is the kind of thing too where I imagine probably a lot of people and a lot of parents, when they watch this movie, really hated her character, and probably like, I can't stand that movie because I hate that Fairuza Balk character and stuff. And it's like, well, it's like, is that the case, or did she just act really effectively and elicit emotion in you and elicit a reaction out of you?
That is a reaction you see a lot with female villains, is that people will be like, I just didn't like the character. And it's like, well, what you need to put away is the idea that every woman in a movie has to be likable. Like, that is a sexist attitude that may seem beneficial when you're thinking like, oh, I automatically like women. But what you're doing is limiting what women can be. They can't be villains. Like, she is a villain. You hated her, so she did good. Like, it's like when a kid watches wrestling and they're like, I hate that guy, he's a bad wrestler.
Yeah,
it's
he's
like,
a bad
as an
guy.
adult, like, no, he's actually really great because you hate him.
Yeah, totally. Elicits response, man.
You hate him, he's doing his job.
But there's a lot of those scenes that are super intense. Like, I love whenever they kind of blow against that wall sideways, like they're kind of like fighting on that wall. And she's just like punching at her and be like, I'll fucking kill you and stuff. Like, she's so intense in that part. And it doesn't come off as like corny or cheesy. Like, it would be so easy for any other actor in that part to make that come off really stupid. But I was buying it, man. She was selling it.
I think she's got some real rage is what it is. And that's what you need in that role. Like, you need somebody who's really angry about something, and I think Fairuza Balk has that. I don't know what it is, but it comes across in so many of her roles. Yeah, I think she's channeling actual anger, and that's what makes her so good in those moments.
I do kind of hate that at the end, like, her character, like, I don't know, man, her character is kind of a gray area in a lot of ways, where it's like, in terms of the villain in this movie, she doesn't do near as much fucked up stuff as Chris does. Like, Chris be raping, y'all.
There's,
you know, she's the bad guy here, and at the end of the movie, she doesn't have any like, oh, I've seen the wrong of my ways moment. It's just like, nah, you just end up in the nut house. Fuck you. Like, I don't really know if that's the best ending for a character that has the kind of struggles that she does. Like, her life just sucks.
Chris does die, though. So,
Chris does die. That's another issue, too. He does
get the worst. Well, I don't know. I'd probably rather be dead than me locked up in an institution.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a tough one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I mean, the thing about Chris he is the villain before, like, he's villainous before she puts the spell on him. But after that, it's, I believe we're supposed to be seeing the effects of karma. And,
Okay.
like, it is a negative, for sure. He's doing a negative thing. That was in him. He's doing it. But it's also being used effectively in the story as, like, showing this is the effect of a love spell. It's an obsession, not a love.
Yeah.
And an obsession that will drive him to see you as an object rather than a person. And so, like, there is something, at least. I mean, I hate that we have any bit of rape going on, but I think it works in the story, and also kind of, as you said, reveals that he is the most villainous, it seems. Like, that is what's in him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I don't know, man, like, his entire storyline and his interactions with the girls and stuff, and that whole outcome to me is just one of those areas where it's just very easy to tell, like, oh yeah, dude wrote this.
Yeah.
really easy, because it's like, you know, Sarah starts going to the school, she's into him, kind of turns him down. He spreads a rumor that, like, you know, like they fucked and that she wasn't any good, and she's like, yeah, I still kind of like him. And then Fairuza Balk is like, yeah, he probably gave me an STD or something. She's like, I still kind of like him. And they do, like, their little witch wishes, and she's like, I know it's dumb, but I still kind of like him. And it's like, God damn, like, really? Is that the kind of, like, self-respecting woman you want to write into this to be a role model?
It would be better. Though, I mean, those do exist, you know, situations where two people are fighting over a very shitty option. Yeah. I think it just adds a side story that's maybe not as important as the central stories. So, but I mean, you needed something for Sarah and Nancy to fight about. And making it a man is interesting because oftentimes, I mean, we talked about this with Death Becomes Her. Usually it's two men fighting over a woman.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's a shitty option. Most of the time, I mean, the same thing with Death Becomes Her, kind of. They're fighting over an option that neither one of them really want. But, I mean, again, I think it has that same meaning to it, though, as Death Becomes Her, where they're really fighting to get closer to one another, and he is a symbol between them. That something they share in common that they can go back to, a touchstone that they can go back to so they can have interactions. And I would think, you know, in Death Becomes Her, both of those people are villainous. In this case, we're supposed to see one as the protagonist and one as the antagonist. So it seems like you're right. Sarah should lose her interest in him, and it should be like Nancy maybe keeps bringing him up or something. Like, Nancy can't get over it because she wants this connection between the two of them, but Sarah continuing to like this terrible individual does make you just be like it's harder to connect with the character.
Yeah, it's like, girl, make better decisions. This guy fucking sucks.
You could do so much better than the first guy who talked to you.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is how you know a dude wrote this, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing about this that I find really confusing is ultimately, at the end of the day, like, the way that Fairuza Balk chooses to get revenge. It's like, okay, so her story is this guy, we don't know if it was consensual or not, but she had a very bad sexual experience with this guy at some time in the past. Mm-hmm. This guy then tries to, like, rape one of her friends, and she's like, I'm gonna get revenge on this guy.
I'm gonna go fuck him and kill him.
Dude, seriously, like, this is one of those things that it was reminding me very much of, like, Talia al Ghul in that third Chris Nolan Batman movie, where it's like, you killed my father, and now I sucked your dick, so what about that?
Take that, son of a bitch.
Yeah, like, well, what? How is this revenge? Like, it's really fucked up, because not only is it that she tries to rape him back, essentially, this guy is, like, fucking drunk and incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
She tries to come on to him. He won't have her. And then she's like, what if I looked like the girl that you tried to rape? Like, this is fucked up on a lot of levels. And I'm not sure how it equates a friend getting revenge for her friend. Like, I don't know. Is this one of the situations where it's like, well, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but maybe 3 or 4 or 5 do?
Well, I think what's going on there, I think this is actually effective storytelling because it's stacking up the wrongs that Nancy has done so that, as you said, the ending works well. We want her to lose because she's gotten away from trying to do things that benefit to just doing flippant stuff to now actually hurting people, even though we don't like that guy. And I think maybe that's why that she has to push it. She has to be in that situation where she basically is trying to rape him so that now we can feel some pity for him.
I guess. It's just a weird way to go about that character arc.
It is. I mean, I can see there might have been other ways to do it, for sure. I think maybe it could have been best to not even include a man as part of it. Like, these young women could have just had their own issues that they already have and deal with, and not have to bring a man into the situation.
I don't know about that, Steve, because you can't spell Manon without man. Am I right? Yeah.
That is true. That is true. You know what? Maybe that's the most important element.
Well, that's the thing that I was thinking about is, like, you know, we're watching this and they introduce this Manon deity, which, like we said, is made up. It's not real. And I'm like, dude, especially considering they made it deities. Up. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, initially I was like, really, they made this up and they made it a man? Like, the source of power is a man, and these women are trying to get attention and power from a man deity? Like, is that the right thing? But then I was thinking about it, and especially knowing that they had a Wiccan consultant and stuff like that, it's like, maybe that was kind of intentional, because these girls have the power within themselves, but instead they squabble over manfection. I don't know if they were shooting for that, or if this is once again just like, no, a guy wrote it, so he made it a guy deity, because usually gods are guys, and that's just how it is. Like, I don't know which one it would be.
It doesn't matter what his intention was, because I can see what you're saying there. That maybe that is a message that we can take from the movie, whether it's intentional or not, that they are playing within a patriarchal system and playing into the patriarchal system by squabbling rather than using their power to crush the system.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what you should get out of it. I mean, this is obviously a movie that's very well liked by the female audience, so maybe that's what they're seeing in it. I don't know.
It's definitely held up, and in like audience terms, like it's got a cult following, and I think it deserves it as well, because of the things we keep mentioning. Is there seems to be a lot to it, whether or not the male writers knew it or not. Maybe they were just good storytellers who knew, like, well, we should include these certain elements and see what people get out of it. It doesn't have to have been an intentional genius stroke for people to get a lot out of it. So I think it has stood up to a lot of scrutiny over the years, people looking at it and finding more and more. So I think you have to, at the very least, praise the filmmakers for having a good open vision and not trying to maybe peg it down too much to try to leave it open so that people can sort of get more out of it by looking into it. Because I think they did good research. I mean, this was written by Peter Filardi. He and the producer Douglas Wick came up with the idea, and Peter Filardi went and did just a ton of research on witchcraft and Wicca and all these things. So, like, I'm just saying, you research those things, you're gonna find a lot of anti-patriarchy stuff. So maybe it's ingrained in Wicca. You're not going to be able to get away from it, even if you're not intending it. It's still gonna be there.
All right. It could be, man. It could be. Yeah, I do wonder, though, just about that aftermath of Chris's death and stuff, because there's got to be some fibers and hairs and stuff that's going to get those girls in plenty of trouble. It's just like Chris dies,
Yeah.
and it's just like there's no investigation. Whatever, he's fucking dead. Doesn't
He
matter.
fell out of a window drunk, I guess.
Yeah, and that's it.
Is
You
that
know.
a thing?
And it's also really problematic for me too that afterwards Sarah is like there on her bed being upset, and her dad's trying to comfort her, and he's like, she's like, oh, he was a great guy inside. And it's like, this guy tried to rape you, dude.
He
like,
really wasn't a great guy.
he
inside
really
at all.
wasn't at all.
No.
Like,
No.
what are you talking about? Like, stuff like that makes me think maybe they did miss the mark on a lot of this stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see they did miss the mark definitely on Chris, because like I don't know though. Maybe it is a truth of teenagers that you know, I do remember some people dying in high school and them being immediately rehabilitated as like they were the best people.
Yeah, sure.
I think that is a tendency in teenagers, perhaps because they haven't dealt with death and they are dealing with their own mortality, and they don't want to speak ill of the dead because they wouldn't want people to speak ill of them, maybe. But he's not a good person, and the only indications of him being good are the times when he is bewitched by her and just doing whatever she says.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not good.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
a servant.
say, yeah, being subservient isn't necessarily a
No.
great character trait, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a subservient person is amoral. They will do a good or bad thing. It doesn't matter. They are subservient.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just don't see any moment where he is good ever.
Nah, I don't really get it, man. It's also worth noting, too, that this movie has a lot of those, I think, really quotable and really memorable shots and moments in it, like the "We are the weirdos" line and stuff. That's one of those that, like, you hear all the time.
Yeah, that is probably the most insufferable teenage line in this.
It's so bad, yeah.
Because can you imagine being that bus driver where it's like, this guy was, what, late 40s, 50s maybe?
Yeah.
A teenager says we are the weirdos. This motherfucker drives a bus in L.A.
He's seen
Girl,
the
you are
fucking
not
weirdos.
the weirdos.
That's
But
true.
I didn't notice, because I had already had that complaint about it, but I didn't notice this. I think he checks out Fairuza Balk's ass.
He
as they're
does. I
getting
noticed
off.
that as I was rewatching it. Like, he totally does scope her
Yeah.
out and then delivers that line, "Watch out for weirdos." It's like, watch
Yeah.
out for fucking grown-ass
Me?
bus drivers checking out high schooler
Yeah.
girls' asses. Ugh.
Yeah, so the "We are the weirdos, Mr." line is insufferable, but now there was a bit more depth to it. I was just like, did they just do that for a trailer? I mean, I think they probably did just do that for the trailer, but it
Yeah.
was also like, oh, okay, it's setting up that, you know, they're not frightened of him, even though he's checking out these teenage girls, because they've discovered their power within themselves and they're becoming more, you know, confident. But it also just seems like a line for the trailer, so.
As does maybe that sexy slow-mo high school girl walk that we get,
Jesus,
right?
that was definitely for the trailer, right? But boy. Okay, so we talked about this in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, where there's a slow walk with the baton.
Baton.
And they're supposed to be young teenagers, and that's creepy. Same here, supposed to be young teenagers. I was a teenager when I saw this. It's hard for me to see this as creepy, but I know it's the same level of creepy because they're supposed to be teenagers. We're watching 4 women, 2 in front, nipples just blazing, and 2 in back, just bouncing boobs.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they weren't wearing bras at all.
Well, what you didn't know is that they had cast a spell on their school to turn the floor into a low-grade trampoline.
That explains it.
But it is really weird. It's like you watch it now and you're like, they're in their 20s. Like, they're not kids,
They're
but
not
they're
teenagers,
portraying
but
kids,
they're
but they're
supposed to be
sexy
teenagers.
kids. Like, it's just
They're
weird.
sexy kids. That is
Yeah.
the problem. But it's also when you're aiming at teenagers, like, it's a tough one. Because
Yeah.
with Harry Potter, I specifically had a problem with it because you're aiming at kids, and now you're like, fuck. Like, here are the French girls who just are fuck incarnate. Like,
Here's the really fuckable kids. It's like,
Yeah,
whoa, this is getting
yeah.
weird really fast.
this seems more like aimed at teens and like, hey, right, like sex, but it's still exploitative because it's exploiting boners. It's like dudes will show up for boners. And I can't pretend that didn't have any play into why I wanted to see this in the theaters.
Sure.
So it works for exactly what it's supposed to do, but should we be exploiting teenagers that way? Probably not. It's probably real weird to be trying to make your money by giving teenagers boners. But teenagers are going to get boners anyway, so you can't really avoid it.
Boner's gonna bone,
That's how it happens.
Boner's gonna bone. Rub one out. Trademark done lovely. That's a hit. That's a hit right there. I'll tell you what, though, man, we're definitely seeing the effects of the lack of proper witchery education and schooling with these kids. These kids are off homeschooling themselves on how to be a witch and stuff. And I'll tell you, it shows. Because, like, at the end of the movie, this is, like, totally one of those things, if you think about it for 2 seconds, it's really dumb. The other girls show up at Sarah's house. They've made these, like, fucking illusions and stuff. Like, they've created fake news, I guess. You can use witchcraft to make fake news.
They did.
And make Sarah think that her family's dead and stuff. And, she's falling for it. She's buying into the illusions. And then, like, 5 minutes later, Sarah's like, oh, you got burns all over your body and your hair's falling out. And they're like, oh, my God, it's really happening. What the hell? It's like, dude, like, you literally just did the same thing to her and you don't see it? Are you stupid?
Maybe. I mean, yeah, maybe they're just stupid. Did we consider, like, we're watching the characters and we're like, yeah, they're just doing teenage stuff. And it's like, maybe these are particularly dumb teenagers.
It is very possible. I've known many of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like you would have thought they would have been like, oh, no, this is a trick. This is the same thing we did to her like 5 minutes ago, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe, at the very least, there'd still be immediate shock, right?
Maybe.
If you see yourself in the mirror and you don't look like yourself, you'd be like, what the fuck? And then you'd be like, oh, she's doing the mind thing. But they like run out and shit. So yeah, I don't know.
They're scared. They're definitely scared, man. I'll tell you what, too. I don't know if I've heard this many fucking 90s songs just shoved in our face since we watched like Final Destination. Oh my God. The soundtrack in this is just awesome.
Most important song, of course, being Love Spit Love's cover of How Soon Is Now, which became the opening song for Charmed, which is just The Craft, but a TV show.
Yeah, that's like, man,
and
y'all aren't even
women.
hiding. You're not even hiding the fact that you're just ripping this shit off.
I loved The Craft.
Yeah.
Or not The Craft, Charmed.
Yeah.
I do love The Craft.
It's easy to get it mixed up.
Yeah. I loved Charmed back in the day. I do. I mean, watching it now, it's just like watching Supernatural or anything else. It's like, this is aimed at teens, but it's like, I get why I liked it.
Yeah, totally. This is just definitely fun, man. But yeah, the soundtrack in this, man, it was like they were finding any excuse they could to play fucking Our Lady Peace and all these other mid-late 90s bands. They were
Letters to Cleo.
Oh my God, just shoved into this movie in like really shameless ways.
Yeah, and then they throw a Portishead in during the rape scene. It was like, what? How does this fit?
Dude, I was going to say, like, if you're ever living your life and the soundtrack becomes Portishead, you need to leave that scene really fast. Like, ain't nothing about to happen if you hear, the quiet strains of Portishead in the background. You're like, I think we should leave. We should get out of here. Something really bad's probably going to happen. Portishead's awesome, man. That is some dark shit.
Yeah, love Portishead. Go check out Portishead, kids.
Yeah.
Ben, you know what I really love after watching this movie? Just 24 years later, here we are. Teen smoking is way down.
Dude, they are just smoking it the fuck up this whole movie. Everybody be smoking.
Everybody just loves them a cigarette. Boy, let's smoke at a party. This will be fun. It is like, it's something I don't think I had noticed until this year. We've watched a good number of 90s movies this year. That cigarette smoking portrayal in movies has gone way down.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That it was an ungodly amount in the 90s. I thought Like, because you watch Mad Men and it's like, oh, everybody's got a cigarette every moment. But you watch shit from the 90s and it's like almost every moment. Like, it's pretty close to every scene. So that's insane.
And these are kids that are supposed to be too young to go buy smokes. I mean, they're like in the middle of high school.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be able to go and buy cigarettes yet.
Yeah. Though, as we know from the 90s, that wasn't a problem.
That was not a problem.
Yeah.
But it does just make it blatantly obvious. It's like, wow, fucking Big Tobacco is funneling all kinds of money into the film industry to try to get kids to smoke. Yep. Like, that's the only answer. It fucking works,
Absolutely.
man.
People see this and, like, as we said, you know, witchcraft became less of a big deal. Same way, smoking becomes less of a big deal when you see it so casual. Like, it's so casual to the effect that it's never even talked about.
Yeah.
Like that, like everybody just smokes. That is what it is. That's how it works. Everyone smokes. So it's very effective at giving you the idea that specifically, if you want to be like these girls, you need to smoke.
Smoke it up, kids.
Yeah. I don't get why people didn't see a problem with this. I know people did see a problem with this, and that's why it has gone down. But I don't see why in the 90s we didn't see how prevalent it was, and I guess it was because in reality it was much more prevalent.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not at all sad to see that go in the way of the dodo.
Yeah, I do. The one thing that I see in movies and TV that absolutely has to go away is when inexplicably a character starts smoking.
Yeah.
Like, when a character has been smoking the entire television series, like, okay, but when a person is like, oh, I'm stressed out, need a cigarette. Not a thing people who don't smoke do.
No, I've never done that.
No one who does, yeah, if you don't smoke, you never reach for a cigarette to calm down. It's just not a thing. But I did find out it was part of the tobacco industry's pitch to people.
Yep.
That's why it was in movies and TV so much and why it's still there.
You can start anytime.
Yeah, you can start anytime. If you're stressed, it'll bring it down. I can't imagine why you'd be stressed in America, but if you're stressed.
I think my biggest problem with this movie is that it didn't cash in and try to connect with Kraft macaroni and cheese for some promotional material. Make a little Kraft dinner, right?
Black macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, maybe send a little microwavable cauldron.
Yeah, something like that. That would be awesome.
Bewitching blue cheese variety or Manon Munster. And maybe the pasta's in little broom shapes or something fun. I don't know.
Of
something
course
witchy.
It is.
You know? They missed out, just like the Quiznos Hagazusa cross promotion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the Hellraiser Cinnabon promotion.
Yeah.
Cinnabites.
There was another one missed out here for the Kraft bewitching macaroni dinner.
I kind of want that now. I'm really craving macaroni now that you talk about it, so it works.
Yeah, there you go, man. It's a good promo right there.
You know, macaroni will calm you down.
Is that so? You can just start anytime?
If you're having a real stressful day, just spark up a macaroni.
Spark up a Mac.
Yeah.
This movie is like very fucking dated and it's very fucking silly, but I still enjoy it. Like, I think there are some things about it that it does well, and I think that there's things about it that it doesn't really do well, where ultimately, again, at the end of the movie, you could say it's a bunch of girls with their manpower squabbling over who's God's favorite and fighting with each other and stuff. Like, that's something that I don't know is that good, but I still enjoy the movie. It's still fun to watch for me. And maybe that is because of the fact that it is just wacky and fun and nostalgic in a lot of ways. But I don't know. I overall do like this movie, and I would watch it again. How do you feel about it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Will watch again. This also might become a regular October movie for me. It really did get me into the spirit. And I find it enjoyable. I mean, it's very 90s. I'm sure a lot of what I'm liking about it is some nostalgia for the movie, for seeing it back then, for having seen it so many times over the years. But I think it does hold up. After looking at it with a critical eye, I think it's a good movie, worth I
think so too, man. I think if I'm going to put this thing on a score chart, again, Again, it's not my like favorite movie, but it also definitely was not made for me, but I still enjoy it. I think I would probably say this is a solid, like, I'm going to say, I'm going to go a little bit above. I'm going to say it's 6.66. Ooh, the devil.
Wow. Watch out, guys. Those numbers
Edgy.
will get you. Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, that sounds right. I was going to say 6.5. 6.66 is fair.
Yeah,
That's
I think
what
so.
the craft gets. I think it just keeps enough of the storytelling and fun and character study that you never really get bored, and you never really aside from the why do you like Chris, everything else kind of makes sense.
So overall, a fun watch, one to add into your October Halley watch habits, I think. Again, some good performances and stuff, some decent at times effects. Sometimes the effects aren't really that great, like with the like morphing, like hair change scenes and stuff
when
like that.
When she's walking on water, she's red. Like tomato red, which you probably couldn't see in 96, but when I saw it in Blu-ray quality, it was like, oh, she's just red.
Yeah. Also, I didn't feel like they made a big enough deal about that, where it's like, oh yeah, I remember last night you got struck by lightning and now you have Christ power. I feel like they didn't make a big enough deal about that.
Yeah,
the girls were just kind of like, oh.
Point. Now that I think about it, she walked on water.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking deal.
That's a pretty big feat. That's something that you don't really see all the time. I feel like that should have been made a bigger deal out of.
Yeah, probably so.
So it's not perfect, but there is some truth in this art. So give it a watch. Now, Steve, next week, as we already said, we're going to be talking about Prince of Darkness, which I'm very excited about, man.
Yeah.
I'm like running out of John Carpenter movies that I haven't watched. So this is a rare treat.
We've still got a few for the show.
Yeah.
Have you seen Christine?
Nope, haven't seen Christine.
Okay. Well, we'll do that one too eventually.
Hell yeah. So be sure to tune in next week. That's going to be a fun episode. I know that you have expressed your love of this movie many a times to me, so I look forward to checking it out. You guys be sure to tune in then. In the meantime, go on Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show. Just takes a minute, don't cost you a dime, helps us out a whole lot, so do it, please. That'd be great. And also, if you like the show and want to say thanks and also help contribute to the direction of future reviews on the show, be sure to support us on Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/dead and lovely. Head on over there. You become a $1 patron. You get access to the Patreon exclusive episodes that we do. We just did one on Lovecraft Country recently.
That's right. We sure did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go check that out. If you become a $5 patron, you can throw in a submission each month. We randomly draw from the bowl. This movie, The Craft, was randomly drawn from that bowl. Head on over there. Drive the ship.
Yeah, that's right.
We like doing the movies you want us to do.
We surely do. Mm-hmm. And you guys can also follow us on Instagram and all that stuff, too.
Yeah, at Dead Lovely Pod on Instagram and Twitter. We're on the Facebook, facebook.com/Dead and Lovely. We got Discord, Friday night Scream and Chat. Recently, we've done The Witcher and Haunting of Hill House, and this upcoming week, I don't know what we're gonna do, but it'll probably be something crazy.
It will be fun. It'll be a good old time.
Yeah,
so join up, have a good time, hang out with your boys, and be sure to tune in next week where we'll be talking about Prince of Darkness. Gonna be a good time. Everybody get out there and rock the fucking vote. If you don't vote, you can't gloat, y'all.
That's true.
Do it however is safest for you, whether it be a mail-in situation or go vote in person. Follow your gut instincts. Do what you think is safest for yourself. Your vote shall be tallied among all the rest of ours. So go out there and make a damn difference, y'all.
And while you're out there voting, be sure wear a mask. Keep a little social distance.
That's right.
Be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, my wife and I, we went to early voting because I requested a mail-in ballot 3 months ago and didn't get it. I don't know how that happened, state of Tennessee. Anyway, we went to early voting. I was surprised. Even here in East Tennessee, most everybody was wearing a mask. People were keeping social distance. Everybody was nice. So
good.
Just I'd say check Facebook groups and stuff around your town. Find out what voting locations you can get to. And if you didn't get a mail-in ballot, get out there early. It'll probably be safer.
There you go. Do it to it, y'all. And be sure to tune in next week. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Hope everybody's had a delightful Halloween. Stay safe out there. Wash your damn hands.
And your ass.
And we'll catch you guys next week. I've been Uncle Ben.
I've been Hollywood Steve.
We're dead and lovely. Bye.
So, Ben, you know how WWE superstar John Cena has fulfilled the most Make-A-Wish wishes ever?
Yeah, really?
Yeah, he has. The guy goes well out of his way to fulfill Make-A-Wish wishes, and he's surpassed everyone by far.
Damn. What a nice guy.
He is. He's a super sweet guy. I was thinking, though, the other day, is that true? Now, we know one thing about John Cena. You can't see him.
No, you can't see him at all. So who's to say he's not standing behind me right now?
So is it possible that kids say, I want to meet John Cena, and the Make-A-Wish people are like, sweet. And then they take him to an empty room, and they're like, go ahead, introduce yourself to Mr. Cena. And the kids are like, what? I don't see anybody. And then the person looks at him and is like, right? Exactly. And then the kid's like, yay, Mr. Cena. And then has a whole day with an imaginary person.
And then I think there's a French guy in the room that flicks his cigarette and says, oh, how like religion this is.
Oh, this is so appropriate.